everybody, hope you're all safe and well. You've been practicing hard with your Pilates. Again, I've got a bit of a rubbish camera angle here, so I'm going to have to do your main class lying down, and then we've got some stretches to finish off with, which I will do on a separate video. Sorry, it's a bit of a pain, but this room's so small I can't get myself in both angles at the same time. So we'll start off just lying on our backs. Just take your feet hip width apart and just think about where your body is on the mat. Allow that chest to become nice and wide. Arms just walk down the mat. And then just focus a little bit on your breathing to start with. Remember, think about breathing nice and wide and full into the ribs, and as you exhale, imagine just expelling all that stale air. And then we'll just start just with some warm up for your ankles. So just come up onto your toes and then just allow the heels to just drop down, and then just start to alternate. So you're just dropping the heel, lifting the heel on your opposite foot. And then just place the feet down onto that mat. Make sure the feet feel nice and even. And then we just work our way back up the body. So we'll just start just with some gentle hip rolls. So just gently taking those hips from side to side. Think about just starting to time your breathing. If you find your shoulders start to lift, you can take your arms out into a T shape. Just help a little with that stability through those shoulders. So start to think about switching on through the core muscles a little bit, starting to just activate those abdominal muscles. We'll do one more of those to each side. And then just gently bring those knees up into the centre. Take the feet and the knees together. I'm just going to allow the knees just to drop out to the side. Just stretch off the inner thigh. Make sure with this one that you're not gripping on with your glutes, with those muscles in the bum. So just allowing the knees just to gently fall. If you want to increase the stretch a little bit, you can just take your hands gently onto above your knee and just press the knees gently down towards that mat, but no gripping on with anything else. And then bring those knees back to the centre. And just take the feet hip width apart again. And we'll just take the arms around yourself as if you're giving yourself a hug. And then just gently rolling from side to side with that upper body. So think about the pelvis staying nice and level, so you haven't got everything rolling. It's just introducing a little bit of rotation through that upper body, through that thoracic spine. And then back into the centre. And then we'll just take the head gently from side to side. As you're doing this, try and keep the chin on the same level, if that makes sense, so you're not nodding the chin or tipping the head. then just bring the head gently back into the centre. And just bring the chin gently down towards that chest. And then just tilting in the opposite direction. And then bring the head back into your neutral position. Just think about nice length through the back of the neck. And then just bring the knees up towards the chest, give that back a stretch. Just roll side to side. Really hug those knees in and give that lower back a really nice stretch. And then back into centre, bring those knees back down again. And then we just find your neutral pelvis position. So again, hips and feet in line with each other. And just gently tilting those hips up towards the head, gently tilting them down towards the feet. Try and keep the hips nice and level so you don't feel as if they're tilting over to the side or tipping, or you've got more weight through one side. And then just make the movement a little smaller and smaller, just until you come to rest just somewhere in the centre that's comfortable for you. And then we'll just start to just warm the abs up a little bit. So just think about just tucking back the tummy button a little bit. Remember, you don't want those abs bulging and the back arching off the mat. You want the abs nicely tucked back and hollowed. We're just going to take one leg at a time out to the side, and then think about that diagonal pull to bring that knee back into the centre. And then the same thing to the other side. So imagine you've got your resistance band there, so using that body weight to create a little bit of resistance. So those abs feel like they're hollowing back down to the mat. And then back into the centre. So keep your abs just tucked back or hollowed, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to I'll give you two options for the next exercise. So you can bring both legs up into your tabletop position, and you can just warm up with your toe dips, or I'm going to use the weight of both legs. So again, hollow back the tummy, but make sure the back doesn't start to arch. I'm just going to take both feet down, hollow, both feet back up again. So inhale to prepare, exhale as the feet go down. Hollow the abs, back up again. Exhale, down. Inhale, exhale, up. So really focus on that breath flow. Really focus on keeping those abs hollow so they don't feel as if they're doming as you're bringing the knees up and down. So you want that back staying in your neutral position. Don't tip your hips up towards the head as you bring the knees up. So you can put your hands just on the hips if you want to, just to feel that those hips are staying in that neutral position, so that pelvis is in your neutral position. So remember, think about breathing, think about hollowing, scooping back with those abs. So really focus on how your back feels and how your body feels on the mat. If you feel like as you lift your legs, your back's arching and you're getting a bit of pain in your lower back, really focus on what's happening through the centre, through the core, whatever you want to call it. So scoop back, then lift, check you're still scooping back, and lower. And again, scoop back, lift, scooping back, lower. Okay, we're going to do 3 more of those. So inhale to prepare, scoop back, exhale, inhale to prepare, scoop, exhale. Again, exhale, lower. Last one, inhale, exhale. This time keep your feet and keep your legs where they are, and just bring those knees up and give yourself a bit of a massage on that lower back. Okay, so we're just going to come onto your double leg lift now. So I'll demonstrate the exercise. So you're going to bring the knees up towards the chest, flex and turn out the feet. As you do that, you're going to take the arms around the head, extend the legs, and then back to the start. Again, flex out, turn out the feet, inhale, exhale, knees back towards you. Again, inhale, exhale them out, back towards you. Again. Again, make sure that you're not doming those abs or pushing back down too much. And we'll do 4 more. Exhale the legs away, inhale them back in. Inhale, exhale, inhale. Inhale, exhale, inhale, last one. Inhale, exhale, inhale, and knees up towards your chest. So just take the legs straight for a second, take the arms up over the head, come into your full body stretch. You can flex the feet up towards your body if you want to. If you find you're a little bit tight through those hamstrings, just bring the toes up towards that body. Arms over the head. Okay. So we're going to come on to your scissor legs now, or leg pull, whatever you want to call it. So you're going to, again, lift just the shoulder blades. Think about hollow back with those abs. I'm going to start one leg raised up here, one leg raised off the mat, and we're going to come into those scissor legs. So nice and slowly. So try and rest in between each movement. So still, 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 still. We'll do 3 more. 1, still, 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 still. Last pair. Still, still, and rest. Bring those knees up. Okay, so we'll come over into your cat position. Just give that back a little bit of a stretch. as you're raising the back up towards the ceiling, just drop down with that head. We're just going to do a little variation on your cat. I'm going to just use the pelvis. We're just going to make a figure of 8 from side to side. So it's a really nice one just for loosening up that lower back. So you're just making a sideways figure of 8 with your pelvis. Try and keep your shoulders still so it's just that pelvis that's moving in that figure of 8. Got any stiffness or lower back pain, this is quite a nice one. You might find one side you find it quite difficult, the other side is quite easy. And then back into the centre and just pushing back into your child's pose. Keep those hands nicely walked away. Okay, so just going to come up into your seated position now. I'm aware now that my head's completely disappeared, apologise for that. And we're going to keep the legs slightly bent, so slight bend in your knee. So for this one, I want you to really focus on what's happening through those abdominal muscles. So making sure that they're not doming out, that they're scooped back and hollow, so you can really feel those working. So we're going to come back into your half roll back. So keep the palms facing each other, shoulders nice and soft, and then scooping those abdominals back. Think about pushing the abs back towards that spine and coming back up. And again, tummy button back. So really pushing the tummy button back, keep those shoulders down, so make sure the shoulders don't start to come up towards your ears. So make sure that you haven't got any tension through the front of the shoulders when you're doing that one. So if you carry on with those. So making sure that the shoulders don't lift. Those abs don't push out as you're coming up and down. And last one. Remember, scoop back, hollow abs. Good. And then you can just come forward over your legs. Just allow those knees to drop out to the side. And just nice stretch for that spine. Okay, so I'm going to come down onto your side now. So what I am going to say to you guys is, if you want to do this against a wall, just so you can really focus on your sideline position and just be able to feel when you're rolling forwards, or if you're wanting to roll backwards. I'm not going to do it against the wall because I'm in a really precarious position, just step out, staying in shot at the moment. So, but if you do want to do that, if you just lie against the wall, just make sure that your shoulders and your pelvis against the wall. Just have your feet very slightly forward. And I just want you to just try and see how this affects your balance when you're not allowing your body to do what it wants to compensate. How does that affect your balance? And then I'm going to do it in a slightly different position. So you're going to have your hands clasped behind your head. And again, this is going to affect your side to side balance. So we're going to just start off with your single leg lift. So take notice of your underneath leg as well. Make sure you're not rolling that leg. So you're coming onto the knee. That leg wants to stay nicely stacked underneath your other leg. If you want to make it a little bit more difficult, you can come up onto your elbow and have your hands clasped rather than having the elbow down. So you can come up. I'm going to stay in the down position because I'm not very away, you can only just see me. So remember, making sure that if you're against that wall that you're not rolling forward or rolling back. Nice and long with that top leg. So no wobbling, and just stay nice and still. Again, think about scooping back with those abdominal muscles. So remember, those muscles are the ones that will switch on and keep you nice and stable. Okay, we'll do 3 more. Keep that leg long. Okay, last one. And just give those arms a rest for a second. So you can just stretch your underneath arm out. Just give your upper arm a little bit of a stretch. If you find that is horrendously uncomfortable for you, please go back to your normal position. So if you've got your cushion underneath, put your cushion back there, put your arm out if that's really uncomfortable for you. Okay. So again, we're going to look a little bit at your side to side balance now. So you're going to be hopefully up against the wall. So we're just going to stay in the position with the hands clasped, and you're going to take your leg forward and back to the wall. So you're going to have it lifted so it's not relying on the underneath leg, and then it's coming forward. So what you want to avoid is as you take that leg forward that your body tips forward. You want it to be nice and stable. Think about that top hip staying nicely over your underneath hip. Especially as you start to tire a little bit, you might find that that hip wants to cheat and go forward. If you find you're really unbalanced in this one, take that underneath leg into bent position, but still try and keep that feel against the wall if you're able to be near enough to a wall to be able to see me. So you can take that leg bent if you need a little bit more stability, or if not, have that underneath leg straight. Tummy button tucked back. We'll do 4 more. Try and keep the leg on the same level so it doesn't drop and lift as you're moving it. Okay, last one. Keep yourself nice and stable. And rest for a second. Give your arm a rest. Take the leg and give it a bit of a stretch if you want to. Good. Okay. So same thing if you're comfortable enough to have with your hands clasped, and we're going to come into your double leg lift now. So just make sure you can see your toes in front of you. Make sure the pelvis and the shoulders are against the wall if you're using the wall. And we're just going to lift using that underneath the leg. So make sure that you don't do that and that top leg comes off. You want to imagine the top leg's not doing any work at all, the underneath leg's doing all the work for you. Try and keep that side to side movement to a real minimum. So really use that wall to keep your a track of where your body is. So remember, you can do it in this position if it's more comfortable for you, or you can do it with your hands clasped. I'll do 4 more. So remember, take the attention onto the underneath leg. Last 2. And rest. Okay, just come forward and come into your child's pose on your way over to your other side. And if you want to, just give your back a little stretch to your cat. And we'll come over onto your other side. So again, if you can be up against the wall, do have your hands in your clasped position if you can. And then have a look down, make sure you can see your toes, make sure your pelvis and your shoulders are staying in line on your wall. And we'll start with your single leg lift. So remember, scooping back, hollowing with those abs. Nice and long. Exhale as you're lifting. So inhale, exhale. Try and keep that rolling backwards and forwards to a minimum. If you find that you're rolling away from the wall with your pelvis, you know that you're rotating and twisting, which you don't want to be doing. And the same thing, if you feel like you're pushing really far back into the wall, try and really focus on keeping the hips nicely balanced over each other. Nice and slow, nice and long with that upper leg. Okay, we're going to do 3 more of these. Keep that leg long, don't cheat for the last one. Good, and give the leg a rest, give those arms a rest for a second. And just stretch that arm away. Okay, so if you're comfortable with your hands in that position, you can take them back into that position. And again, we're going to come on to your, if you just lift the leg slightly, remember, try and keep it on that same plane of movements, that same level, so you're not lifting and lowering and wiggling it about as you're coming backwards and forwards. Remember, scoot back and hollow those abs. Keep you nice and stable. Hip nicely aligned over the underneath hip. Just check whether you're rolling away from the wall if you're using the wall. Three more. One more. Stay on that level, remember. Good, and give that leg a rest. Give yourself a bit of a rub if you need to. Okay, so we can give that top leg a little bit of a rest now, starting to work the inner thigh on your lower leg. So again, make sure you're nicely stacked, one hip over the other. You're not rolling backwards or forwards, or that hip's not coming up towards your ribs. And we'll start working that underneath leg. Remember, don't allow this leg to cheat and lift as you're lifting. The work should be being done by that inner thigh and the lower leg. Keep those hips nicely stacked. So inner thigh, this is doing the work. Remember, if you prefer to do this position, if you're more comfortable, then that's absolutely fine. But again, try and minimise any forward or backwards. I think I'm better in shot with that position actually. And we'll do two more. Last one. And give that leg a rest. Okay, so we're going to come roll gently over onto your fronts. Just take your hand into your diamond position, and we'll just remember tucking that tummy button away. We'll just gently lengthen through that spine, push up and give that back a stretch. And again, nicely lowering gently down. Inhale. Tummy button tucked away from that mat, long through the spine. Exhale. And one more. Good. Okay, so if you've got a towel or a cushion, if you just pop that under your forehead, or if you haven't got anything, just gently rest the head down onto the mat, and you can take your arms out into your cobra position. So a little bit differently today, we're not lifting your head and chest off the mat. One at a time, you're going to keep your arms in your cobra position. One at a time, you're just going to just gently lift the arm up towards the ceiling. So if you're a little bit tight through the front of the chest or the shoulders, you might find this a little bit uncomfortable. So just work within your own body. Try and make sure that you don't twist the body from side to side as you're doing this. Start to think about the centre of the body, tucking away the tummy button so you feel nice and stable. We're going to do one more on each side. Remember, keep that tummy button tucked. And then we're going to introduce a leg movement into that. So same thing, going to keep the head gently down, If you find it uncomfortable to have your head just down like this, you can, if you're not using your arm, you can just gently have it on there, and then you can use your other arm, go back into your position, and then the same thing. So I'm going to lift an arm now and your opposite leg, keeping the forehead down onto that mat. So tummy button tucked, nice and long through that spine, nice and central through the main part of your body. Now I'm going to lift the arm and opposite leg. Back down again. Tummy button tucked away from that mat. Exhale, lift. So opposite pairs. And be long through the spine. No wobbling about side to side as you're doing this exercise. So try and think about the breathing, long through the leg, down with the head. Do one more to each side. Last one. Good. Okay, so we'll just push back up into your cat position. Just give that back a nice stretch now. Gently dropping down. Then when you're ready, push back into that child's pose. So we're going to change positions. I'm just going to change my camera angle and we will pop up into standing position. We're going to finish off with some standing stretches.